Pick your focus. What's important to you? That's what I'm talking about today because we have two. This is amazing. I waited for this for the perfect juxtaposition of two different stories. First of all, I put my Pats hat on today, like I always do, for a very specific reason. The NFL draft is tonight, but there's all kinds of NFL drama. It's making the front page headlines. The coach of the Patriots caught in a gossip picture from the New York Post, and what's everybody going to do? Massive headlines, 10-1 to another story, which is happening here. We got more missing scientists happening, and now the House Oversight Committee wants to launch an investigation. And there's another guy from the House of Representatives that's saying maybe foreign adversaries are involved. Guess which is getting more attention? And I'm not going to be that guy. I am not the guy to tell you, sports are just a distraction, and that's just entertainment. You shouldn't pay attention to it at all. I'd be a hypocrite because, as you know, I am like sports addicted. I come from a sports culture. I'm from, the New England area where it's like sports is priority number one. And I think that's a big problem of how they vote up there. But anyway, that's a different story. But also, you got to put your focus on what matters, truly. Because this is a perfect example of us getting distracted by what it does not matter whatsoever and missing a key story with this scientist thing. So we'll go through both of them. And another story to talk about today, I think this is fantastic. It's been a long time since I went to a Steak and Shake. Like, I can't remember how. I think I'm going to have to, though. It's like they always say, vote with your dollars. They have put a new MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, CEO in charge of not of the whole company, but to make sure that they're doing things. This is the same company that invited Bobby Kennedy Jr. in. They said, hey, come on, you're making America healthy again. We'll bring you in. They started using beef tallow as their fry cooker and all that stuff. Good stuff happening there. So I want to check it out, and I think I will. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Thanks for checking me out. Wicked Radio live stream on X, YouTube, and on Facebook, and then the audio podcast as well. Let's get right into it. First and foremost, I would never be the guy to distract you from this because this is exactly what I'm watching tonight, too. It is, again, the NFL Draft.
We need 13 picks.
Hear that sound a lot. Not everybody is a sports fan. I totally get it. But you got to put this in perspective, number one. First and foremost, the NFL is the biggest entertainment game in town. Absolutely, completely, totally massive. Think about it. They have made their draft where they pick new players, new talent, new personalities, new marketing opportunities, and they bring them into their league from college, which is normally just a paperwork issue. They have made this now on a Thursday night to kick off the draft, and it goes all the way through Sunday, television entertainment. And let me tell you, it gets massive ratings. The NFL is number one. They run the game. Yeah, there was that movie about concussive syndrome a couple of years ago where the doctor was talking about the NFL, and you can't pick a fight with an organization that owns an entire day of the week. That's how powerful they are, which explains why this story is getting so much attention. Now, it's going to seem like I'm talking out of school here because it involves the team that I love with the Patriots. You told you I'm from New England, and Coach Mike Vrabel. The gossip drama that started 2 weeks ago. It's part of the story here. The New York Post, their page 6 gossip editorial program, caught pictures of him and NFL reporter Diana Rossini. Canoodling is the word that's being called by Barstool. Canoodling at a Scottsdale, Arizona, or a Sedona, Arizona resort. And the big deal now understand, so far, unless something comes out, and it may be happening here, there's nothing other than them embracing with, fingers crossed. He's known her for like 20 years. They had breakfast together. They were in a hot tub together. That's one thing. But other than that, so far, nothing else proven. But this has been top sports story before that, because it's off-season story for now 2 weeks. And it just picked up again. Because overnight, the Patriots announced that Mike Vrabel will not be there for the Patriots' Day 3 draft pick, which is Sunday, because he's going to go to counseling. Sounds suspicious, doesn't it, that they released this Saturday night that he's going to actually be doing this? It sounds like, to me, being as objective as I can possibly be, they think more pictures or more something or other is coming out. They did a press conference last week, or was it the beginning of part of this week, where they tried to diffuse the situation? This is what he said.
First, begin by saying thank you. Thank you for your patience that you've shown in a personal and private matter. For me,
audio was low, and there's a reason why the audio was low. It was only cell phone video. It wasn't actually on the official NFL or Patriots media site. That's another telltale sign. So they tried to diffuse the situation there. A lot of the reporters around there were saying, it's way too late. It's too late anyway. Nobody cares. You bungled this already. Well, okay. So they had that. That wasn't enough. Now, they announced me he's not going to be there for day 3 of the draft. From a sports perspective, sports entertainment's perspective, day 3 of the draft is like Sunday. That's like rounds, 6 and 7? 6, I think. I think it ends at 6. Drafting guys who are like linemen from Eastern, Northern, Southwestern, Barber College, North Carolina. Okay, it's not the most important thing. But the story is they're actually doing that. So you could blame that organization for kind of bungling the story or trying to diffuse it and it didn't work or whatever. Here's my point. And it's weird, and I'm trying to be objective because this is actually from the team I support. So, there is that perspective. But I'm telling you, if this was the Jets or the Arizona Cardinals or the LA Rams or the Chicago Bears, I think I'd say the same thing. So it's not groundbreaking. It's not earth-shattering or shaking. It's an NFL coach allegedly, and this is all we have so far, allegedly being involved with an NFL reporter. I think that's a media story. I think it's an NFL story. I think they have a problem there with maybe leaks and he would get inside information before anybody else would and all that crap, right? But you got to ask yourself this. And it's perfect that it comes from the Patriots because, I have to ask myself the same question. Why do I care about this? Like, unless it affects, from an entertainment perspective, from a sports perspective as a fan, it's like if it affects things and if there's penalties or this and that or negative press, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's that. How does this affect my life? This is a big part of the problem. And again, I'm not going to be the guy saying, you should never watch sports, you should never do this, you should only focus on the... No, you need sports entertainment. You need that, or whatever your entertainment is. You need that as part of your life. Everybody does, as a nice distraction. But that's all it is. Why is this important? I think it's important and a good example to bring up with this story, juxtaposed with the missing or dead scientist story. What's really important that you pay attention to? Because I'm telling you, that's getting 10 times the media coverage that our next story is with these missing or dead scientists. I think it's just a good question to ask. You always have to ask yourself, and we all have to now because there's so much information coming at us every single day. What do you focus on? Like NFL gossip or stories that actually may affect your life? Everybody's got to make that decision. You know my theory for years. People have asked me for years. It's like with Massachusetts, right? Why is that state so? Why do they vote the way they do? What is the problem there? 2 things. Independents and Republicans don't think they can ever win an election because of the way the congressional districts are drawn, like ever. And the second thing is partly that. Sports are so important that takes the headline and the focus where all these stories originate from, because it's more fun to follow, I guess. And it's entertainment than paying attention to what's really going on. It's a big reason why. But what really is going on? Because it looks as though we got another one. Now, this is from last year, but another headline where another missing scientist was discovered under mysterious circumstances. This apparently crashing his Tesla last year, mysterious circumstances. Now they're digging up the investigation again into that to find out what the heck happened. So here's another one you could put into recently. Another scientist, around 10 or 11 scientists or researchers with ties to sensitive U.S. programs, mainly nuclear, aerospace, defense-related fields, have died or gone missing since roughly 2022 or 2025. And this latest guy in Texas, or excuse me, Alabama, as he was in Huntsville, is another one you can add into the mix. I said that when we first brought this up at the end of last week, I don't think there are any coincidences. I just don't. But something's going on. Are we ever going to get the truth on this? I don't know. But I will tell you this. Here's James Comer from the Oversight Committee in the House. They're aware of it, number one. And number two, they're taking up some investigations on this, apparently. Will anything come from it, knowing the fields that they're talking about? Probably not.
This doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah.
Nuclear scientists missing or deceased, that's a huge problem.
Absolutely. And what's being done to protect scientists right now in classified fields? Should they be worried?
Well, I think so, and that's one reason we've reached out to these government agencies. We're getting briefings from them now. We want to make sure that not only do the employees know there's a potential threat out there, but that the agencies are providing adequate security and ensuring that at the end of the day, not only are the employees protected, but the intellectual property is protected as well. Because if the...
Now, there was another one of these scientists who wound up I think this was a missing one. It's a lot to kind of gather here. She was missing, but she did one of those videos where it's like, if anything happens to me, I did not kill myself. You don't know what's going on here. But again, there's too many of these cases to ignore. Now, that's one thing. That's James Comer, House Oversight Committee, right? Which is where basically you get no answers, whatever. So I wouldn't expect any from that as well. But there's something a little bit different about this now as this story continues to grow. Again, it'll never be as big and people won't pay as attention as much as the NFL Mike Vrabel gossip. Never. They just never will. That's just the human nature and how these stories are covered and received. But this is something a little bit different. So that was one thing. That was James Comer from the Oversight Committee. How about this guy, though? He's another guy in the House of Representatives, Eric Burleson. Listen to what he says. It's been a long time since I actually heard a sitting lawmaker, an elected official, imply that foreign agencies or intel is involved in this. Here's this guy.
You say in this letter that this could potentially be a, quote, grave threat to United States national security and to U.S. personnel with access to scientific secrets. Explain what you're worried about.
Well, obviously, we know that there are programs in the past where foreign countries have used programs to try to encounter, engage, sometimes get the nation's top scientists to either stop what they're doing or come and work for that country. And so whether it was Operation Paperclip or most recently you have China that's been doing Operation Fox Hunt as well as Operation Skynet. These are disturbing, but it is true that foreign actors do engage. And our scientific community are very vulnerable targets.
Do you think that, this is not an extraordinary set of coincidences, that in fact they may be linked?
Right. What's fascinating about these individuals, they all were working in aerospace. They're working in whether it was in materials or propulsion. They were working with plasma research, all related to this topic. Well, that's fascinating. But what's really fascinating is the four individuals that stepped out of their home, left their phones behind, left their wallet, left everything behind, and just completely disappeared and never came back.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen. I mean, I know it's like what most recently that reminded me of, the Nancy Guthrie, the Savannah Guthrie, her mother story, the, missing story with cell phone and things intact. It's just that usually happens in abductions. So as many top clearance scientists, incredibly smart people, who I would imagine I'm going to assume are like attached to the hip to their phones and their data, something going on there. And as freaky as that is, because they all have most of them anyway, have top government clearance. As freaky as that is, and as disturbing as that is, even though it's not getting the headlines, here's the good news. It's getting some attention. I would say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and even at the beginning of this story, when they first started to go missing 2 years ago, it got nothing. And I think if we didn't have social media these days with enough people asking questions, and I think we have to give a lot of credit to the UAP bros, the people that do alien podcasts and YouTube shows and interview shows and bloggers even still and all that stuff. They kept on bringing attention to this story, as they should, so good for them, because maybe 10 years ago, I still don't think we'd hear about the story. It's worth asking questions. You always have to ask questions and bring up the topic about what's important. Again, it's your focus. There's so much information that comes in these days. What's your focus? NFL gossip? Or 10, possibly 11 missing dead high clearance scientists? Sometimes, and I love sports too, sometimes you got to reprioritize what's exactly important. Here's important to me, and let's wrap it up with this, and I think this is great news. I love this. I'm putting this in the category of outstanding news. And you know what's going to happen, just like when Bobby Kennedy Jr. showed up there and had a shake or fries or whatever the hell it was. Steak and Shake is sure to have some backlash on this, but in the long run, I think they're going to benefit. Are they capitalizing on this new movement? Part of the America First movement now is make America healthy again. I totally get that. Are they jumping on the bandwagon? Sure they are. But here's my question to you. So what if it winds up making Americans more healthy? The standard Steak and Shake customer who goes there maybe 2-3 times a week or whatever. Long term, that person is going to be a lot healthier because of this, because of their moves that they're making. First of all, they put beef tallow to fry their stuff. That was good, like the old days when things tasted better and were healthier instead of the chemicals. And now this. This happened a couple of days ago. I wanted to wait on this one, though, towards the end of the week. Steak and Shake announces the hiring of its first chief MAHA officer. Chief what? Make America Healthy Again officer. Again, jumping on that bandwagon, but that's okay. It's a good thing. Michael Bowes, this is from the official Steak and Shake press release, by the way. Michael Bowes joins SNS in this new executive role dedicated to advancing nutritional integrity, ingredient transparency, and the healthiness of our products. Blah, 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 blah. Why does it matter? I think it matters because Steak and Shake, this is true. You can look it up. Their profits have gone up. You know, their stake in the fast food industry have gone up since they started doing this kind of thing. And this is why it matters, even though that's not exactly on par with like McDonald's or even Burger King, the top fast food joints. Steak and Shake's been around a long time, but they're not at that level. But it's enough to get all of these other restaurants to join in the bandwagon too, to make stuff healthier again. It freaking matters. It does. Now, like I said, I haven't been to a Steak and Shake, and we're talking like decades that I've been there. But for me, if I can find something there that I can eat, I think it's worth putting my dollars towards that, because it's not just them and it won't be isolated. If they are successful, this will force other restaurants, not just fast food restaurants, to get healthy too. That matters. It's better for all of us. Instead of eating garbage, if we can clean up, even in the fast food industry, the stuff that we're putting into our bodies, I think that matters. I think it's big. And I hope they're going to be successful with this. I hope they do. Chief Executive MAHA. Good for them. Like we always say, though, vote with your dollars. It's the most impactful thing. Or a few people think that their actual ballot goes anywhere and makes a difference. But a lot of people, if you want to just look at the Bud Light pushback a couple of years ago, if you want to look at that as far as making an impact, people believe their dollars make an impact. So if you want to see this country healthier again, look at places, and they're not the only one, but look at places like Steak and Shake. I'm going to check it out. Hopefully I don't even know if there's one around me, but I'll try to find one anyway. All right, let's get out of here. I got to get out of here. So do you. Rest up. I am going to watch the NFL draft tonight, night one, despite all the NFL gossip. But again, the main takeaway is with all the information coming at us these days, which I think is a good thing, but you got to pick your focus. Is it NFL gossip drama, which really doesn't affect your life, or is it something like the dead and missing scientists, which actually may affect your national security? You don't have to pick one or the other. Just understand what gets the priority. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. It's almost Friday. Almost there. I can see it. It's right over the weekend. It's Friday the Wicked Radio live stream on X, YouTube, Facebook, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Then the replay on all of those channels. But the audio podcast is where you find most of this stuff posted just after we get off the live stream. YouTube, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, all that stuff, wherever you like to get your audio podcast. Thanks for being me. A lot of you have, so I appreciate it so much. Make it a wicked awesome Thursday. Enjoy the draft tonight, and don't feel guilty about it. Talk to you tomorrow.